Previously on Ballz.
So, and someone who's been around cricketing circles for many a year, was CSA?
That sounds awful.
No, but you have.
Really
how
old.
long have you been from when you started doing TV, SABC,
Yeah.
to CSA job? How many years?
I debuted in 2003 at the World Cup.
That's 10 years.
Thanks, Darren.
You made your debut at the World Cup.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Well, Gerald de Kock had left. And
Where did
obviously
he
they
go?
were desperate. I don't know, but that's what happens. You know, youngsters are in the right position at the right time. And he left, and SABC called me and asked me to audition. I did. And Martin Locke trained me.
There's a whatever the hell happened to you. Is he still
I
in Cape
know.
Town?
I don't know.
I'll tell you where Martin Locke is.
And is he okay? Because I heard he wasn't
don't
he wasn't
know.
going too well.
Where is
Martin Locke lives at, strangely enough, where the golf is happening at the moment, at De Zalze.
Is it?
Golf estate. He has a house there.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Last time I saw him was at Sunset. He was doing the ball tracking thing. He was involved with all of that stuff. I could never understood it, but that's what he
Well,
was
he
doing.
trained me, and he said to me that I wouldn't become a commentator because I wouldn't make it because I hadn't played the game, and a lot of the guys who hadn't played the game had been, I'd be shown up by these people. So I took that as
So he said that you wouldn't play the games, you hadn't played the game. So
Well, I
therefore he
wouldn't be
was
able to
basically saying
commentate.
there would be no, although was women's cricket, had it even established in South Africa yet?
not really. I mean,
So
it
he
was
was saying no
around.
woman would ever work in cricket.
Well, basically, I think his thing was if you played the game, you should commentate. Otherwise, I think you could be something else, whatever else he thought I could be. But I thought that was great motivation. It was fantastic for me because every bit of adversity helped me build a dream. So 2003, yeah, nearly 10 years.
That thing, if you haven't played the game, you can't do it. A few people have tried that before. You said get over it now. Because you had a successful career.
Yep.
How many years? 5, 6?
Well, I took a break in September 2007. Had 2 kids in the last 4 years. And yeah,
Not bad going.
but I'd say you can't do everything at the same time. Everyone thought it'd be really cool to have a pregnant woman on TV. I thought it very cool to watch, but to be that pregnant woman, not be very cool. Not at all. So I also took a break because things were moving too quickly. I was becoming too big too quickly. In having a novelty of having a woman on TV, I think everyone got very excited about it at SABC. So all the big guns left, and suddenly at 28 I was a big gun, and I thought, no, thank you very much. I think I'm going to take a break. And I think I'll probably, I think you're more relevant in your 40s when you're a cricket commentator, 40s and 50s, if you have a look at all the guys,
Yeah.
or 70s.
Or 70s, depending on who you are.
Yeah,
like
Richie Benno.
Jeff Boycott.
He's older than that, eh? Richie.
Richie's
Is he?
late 70s now.
I think Richie must be pushing 80, eh?
I think so.
They've been trying to retire him for a long time, but he keeps popping back
No,
up
he
again.
won't retire.
They are, yeah. Well, I think it's on his terms. I think he'll decide when he decides to move on.
Richie's 81.
81.
81, you're
Yeah.
kidding me. I have a long time. There's no way. I'm not rushing back.
He was born on
I'm gonna have
October the
2 more
6th,
kids.
1930.
Sure.
Wow, 81 years old.
So he can definitely say in my day.
Yeah.
He's almost
Yeah,
82.
yeah,
He's
he
82 in a few months' time. That is
Yeah.
crazy.
He probably would have known Dean Elgar's grandfather.
He would have known Dean Elgar's great grandfather.
Great grandfather. I think he knows W.G. Grace.
He always
So-
reminded me of a tortoise.
Who? W.G.
Benno.
Grace. Oh.
No.
Why?
Sort of leathery, and his face was like
Is he?
I don't know. Maybe it was the early starts when I was watching it.
That was normally when he came out of his shell.
Okay, cool.
Are
Carry on
you
with
two
the interview,
both
John.
done? Anyway, so and then how did you get the gig at? Just September 2007. You had your first one then, right?
No, I had. Stop laughing, John.
Sorry.
Daniel was born in 2009, at the beginning of 2009, and Miss Ella, who's joined us in the studio, was born in December last year.
Oh, okay. You said you took a break to have kids in 2007 in September.
But you don't fall pregnant immediately.
But you started trying in the middle of the World Cup.
That's just so ridiculous.
You
hey?
did. You started trying in the middle of the World Cup.
Nothing wrong with that.
How did your husband think about that? It's like, right, time to start working on a family. Not now. It's the Rugby World Cup. Come on, Kass.
It was quite interesting getting the job at Cricket South Africa because
She says, swiftly moving subject.
no, because I left in September 2007. I left SABC
To go and have kids.
Well, mostly because I wanted to gain some credibility before I got back into cricket broadcasting.
Had to start making kids.
Into making kids. So I got to CSA in March 2008, and in June 2008 I found out I was pregnant. I thought, oh boy, that is just such bad timing. So I offered to resign, and they said no. I stayed, and I had 2 kids.
We must just, I think, go back to your point about Herman has just tweeted there. He really likes Kass Naidoo, but too big for the game. I don't think you meant it in that way, but I can understand exactly what you were saying. You become flavor of the month when there's a new entity on TV and everybody wants a piece of you.
It was a novel thing to have a woman on TV, and I was being pushed in various directions to do things and to become bigger quickly. And I felt that my knowledge base was very low at the time. And to be made so big so quickly, I wouldn't be able to savor actually being a cricket broadcaster. So I felt that I needed to slow down everything quite quickly, and to have been away from everything now for a few years and to have gained some credibility in cricket, I think it's in a few years' time I'd feel a lot more confident going back out.
How different, or I mean, you obviously would have spoken to other commentators, all male dominated. How more difficult, if at all, was it engaging with the actual players and the people in the setup itself, the team? I mean, did you have to sort of break down some preconceived barriers beforehand because suddenly there was this woman in front of them as opposed to normally the guys that stand in front of them, or were they pretty easy to deal with?
Well, the South African team were great, and I had an attitude that was I was an anchor, I was a presenter, and I was not an expert. So from that perspective, I think it's easier because I was asking the questions. You know, some were a lot difficult to interview. Kevin Peterson was extremely difficult to interview. I think he was very distracted. He couldn't believe that there was a chick that was interviewing him, and I think he was aghast, actually. I found that very difficult to interview him.
There might have been some preconceived thoughts in his head for coming from KZN, and suddenly he has this Indian lady standing in front of him interviewing him about cricket. So maybe there's some preconceived thoughts.
But it's been wonderful working with the Proteas, great bunch of lads, and I mean, I think the challenges were more from the public. There was a lady who said to me, you know, I get what you're doing, but I really don't like you commentating. I like listening to men commentate. So, you know, it's...
But I mean, everyone has
depends.
that. You know?
Everyone has their own tastes.
Everyone has. You can't please everyone all of the time. And so, how did you get the gig at Cricket South Africa then? They just approached you and said, or did you apply for the job?
Steve Elworthy had left to join the ECB, and there was a position for commercial and corporate relations manager. I applied fully expecting not to get it, but I just thought it's great to go in for interviews and get some experience out of it. And then I was shortlisted, and I was interviewed by 5 people, including Paul Harris and a couple of others, and I got the gig.
And when the times I saw you there, because I obviously used to pop in now and again and bump into Kaz as she's flying from one office to another, I mean, that was a really hectic, crazy job.
That was nuts. I worked 48 hours a day. I always said to my staff, of course you can have the day off as long as I can call you. So we worked very hard to promote the game. We loved it. I think it's like the team that you have here. You love what you do. We absolutely love what we did. And we got people to love cricket, people who never heard of the game.
So Simon was just shaking his head there.
But I know he just has an attitude issue, but we'll get over that.
Cape Townians, Stormers supporters.
That's what I'm saying, Stormers supporters. I don't get on with that.
And when things at CSA started unravelling, and obviously it was a few people that got caught in the whole unravelling of what went down, how quickly was that? I mean, how sudden was that?
It wasn't sudden at all.
Wasn't sudden at all. So I mean, you guys knew it was coming.
It's been a couple of years. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think about coming anything. It was just a few years of things happening. My understanding was that the board were taking care of policy matters. I guess from my perspective, I got very nicely caught in the crossfire. So for 2.5 years, my name was mentioned all the time related to it. And during that time, I was pregnant or just a new mom or whatever it was. So it was extremely challenging. I stayed for a couple of reasons, mostly because I did nothing wrong, but also because I loved what I did, and I wanted to stay and make a huge difference to cricket administration, and it was great to be there.
Simon?
Well, you were at the forefront of it all. Do you have any thoughts on the whole thing?
In terms of?
Well, you being in, behind closed doors and seeing what goes on in there, you must have your own personal views on the whole saga.
Cricket South Africa is a very well-run organisation. It's quite interesting. The way this matter has been misrepresented in the media says a lot about how people feel about it. to be honest with you, I don't really know what the issue is, and that's why I think this process that the minister's put in place is going to hopefully get to it being resolved. But if you walked into CSA on any given day during the time that was happening, we had a job to do.
Yeah.
You got to put a match on. You've got to make sure the cricketers are flying around the world, representing the country. So, I just took the attitude that I'm not going to take anything personal, except that at times it was very personal. I didn't take it personally because I just felt that I needed to put the game first. I left in March because at the time I went through the Nicholson report. I had nothing to answer for, and I thought it was a great time to actually now finally go be a mom to 2 young kids.
And obviously that's it's the family life now. How has that been for you? Because you've been so busy, you sort of catapulted to this this face of cricket on SABC. Then you're in the spotlight at CSA as well. You're working with the media, so it's just this conveyor, well, not a conveyor belt, but this treadmill of constantly going, and then suddenly, boom, stop, and then it's family life. How was that easy? Did it take a while for you to realize maybe that you were enjoying that a hell of a lot?
Well, I initially resigned from Cricket South Africa in December 2010 because I wanted to be a mom, but they asked me to stay on. So when I did eventually leave, I had taken a year to upskill my team and let them fly. So I was comfortable to leave then. But when I got out of cricket, I unfollowed everybody on Twitter, all the cricket people. I stopped watching cricket and I stopped reading about it because I felt that I just really needed to get out of this game to find out how I felt about it. But on the 18th of June, my father passed away. And that actually put everything into perspective for me, that nothing actually matters except your family. So I've been baking, I've been cooking, I've been making potpourri. My mom's teaching me how to make spices. So it's very exciting. I'm not sure that I'm going to be convinced to get out of this lovely role that I have, dropping my kid at school and all that, to get back into it.
Yeah, your little one, I don't know if we're seeing the little one on the camera, but behind you there's just woken up as well. There we go.
Boy.
Greg's holding it up.
Marcella.
Very cute.
It's fun.
But now, and I'm glad to say that you're back on Twitter again.
Yes.
We see your tweets and sort of obviously following you. Every now and again see a tweet from you going, okay, something's going down with Kass. There's things happening in Kass's life. So
getting a lot of queries, getting a lot of interesting proposals.
But that's good.
It is good, and what's even nicer is to say no, and knowing that I'm saying no because I have a deeper yes.
You're saying no to all of these things?
For now.
What's been on the, come on, tell us.
Stuff.
Tell us what
Come
stuff.
on.
Go on, give us an inkling of what's going
We'll
down.
have coffee, Darren, like we did on the 1st of June. Darren didn't tell you guys the story, obviously. I was in hiding
That we had coffee
for quite a long time. And then I thought, well, I need to get out because I need to understand how people get over tough stuff. So I thought, who should I call? Not Ghostbusters, of course. We phoned Darren. And we had a really nice coffee chat. And in fact, I started getting out that week. Yes.
Yeah.
And things started
happening.
Yes. But I don't really want to become a corporate animal or this crazy woman flying around. I really just want to be a mom for now because my kids are going to be this age just for this short time.
Yeah.
When you get back out, who knows what I'm going to do.
What does Rake do?
Rake's a lawyer.
Okay, well, you don't have to work ever again.
Ever. And he and I run the Women in Sport Initiative, G-Sport for Girls.
Yeah.
So that's kind of something that I can do from home, but I don't really want to be taken out of my comfort zone and, get out.
What, yes, Simon?
Well, just to pick up on that, the Women in Sport, what advice would you have to females that wanted to get into broadcasting I think that's fine. I was thinking if there's anything more to that question. There is nothing.
I think you've just got to know what you're talking about. You've got to learn about what's happening. You've got to research. You can't just expect. I think a lot of people see the glamorous side of sport, which is either playing it or broadcasting or administration. And unless you know your subject, you're going to be found out very quickly. And that was my lesson.
All right. So going back to what you were saying, and there's a tweet here from Chris. Says CSA, a well-run organization, the well ran dry with personal bonuses and self-enrichment. Yeah,
I think you could. It's easy to make statements, and that's why I say I don't take things personally, because unless you have gone, hi Missy, unless you go and research and understand what's happening at CSA, it's very easy to make these statements publicly, and that's why I say also Twitter is easy because you can hide behind an avatar and you can say stuff. But face to face, I'd like people to say stuff. It's a lot easier.
Yeah. All right. So you're not doing anything now? You're not thinking of taking on anything else? You're not thinking of going back into television?
If it works with the kids, I will.
Okay. So yeah, and obviously they're at a crucial age where they
Yes.
need mom right
Yes.
now. And particularly if dad's doing law, then it's going to be quite busy.
Mom's
A lot
needed.
of the time, mom is needed.
Yes.
Well, that's cool. Well, I look forward to that coffee again sometime.
Of course.
Yeah, I was just thinking there was what was I going to talk to you about? Oh yeah, the whole television aspect. I mean, is television one of the options? I mean, have you been approached to do any?
Yeah, internationally.
Cool.
But I'll do that when my kiddies are ready for mom to be jetting around again.
Yeah.
You also don't want to take an international ticket before you're ready.
Yeah. All right. So there we go. I wanted to also ask you about G Sport for girls. What's the Twitter handle?
G Sport, numerical 4 girls.
G Sport for girls. I think you actually started following us yesterday or the day before. They did, or the organisation did.
You guys retweeted us and we picked up followers, did they?
Yes. So there is G Sport number 4 girls if you want to follow. And to give us a little bit of a background, what is it all about? What do you do?
Well, in August 2006, I decided to launch the initiative to raise the profile of women in sport. I felt that at the time there was very little publicity positively portraying women. And considering that Penny had done so well in the Olympics in '96, she was the inspiration behind the launch of the initiative. So we launched it in August 2006, and this year we're having our 7th annual awards around, I think, the first week of November, and it's really been going well. We've published over 4,000 stories on our website since the start, and to advise a lot of the sportswomen. It's really kind of like the big sister of PR for women's sport, and it's going quite well.
All right. Well, let's get a button on our website there, and we'll do a link through to G Sport for Girls. So
That'd be
if any of our
fantastic.
listeners want to find out what goes on there, they can just click through and then
That'd
have a
be
look at
great.
all the stuff that you guys do. I see Dad's on his way. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. It's nice to catch up with you again.
Only a pleasure.
And we're going to have that coffee sometime.
Yes, you're going to be on time this time.
Yes.
Oh, he's never on time.
Don't
Hold
say
on.
that.
That's horrible.
That's
I had
ammunition
to-
for these guys.
That's nothing we don't know.
Thanks a lot, Kass.
Thanks, Darren.
Kass Naidoo joining us here at Ballz Visual Radio this afternoon, and it's nice to catch up with her. And just one final thing before you do take your headphones off.
Yeah.
How cool were the cricketers in England, that first
Oh, that was
test?
so fantastic, wasn't
Eh?
it? You know, I was thinking, England are normally used to being sledged quite heavily when we get there. It was extremely quiet. I think that's one of the things that really shook them up, because they didn't expect us to be so quiet. But also, once they won day one, we took control and never let go, which is that killing instinct that they've been looking for. And now to say that they're resting colours for the ODI series and they're bringing Dean Elgar, I think the mind games are definitely on. So 2-0, I'm going for that.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's what Shane Warne said. Apparently somewhere, he didn't say it on this show.
No.
On this show he said
You said 1-0.
an edge with, he said England have the edge, but he hopes South Africa wins. So there we
Okay.
go. So
Probably
far
saying
it's
to the
looking good.
Palms that he hopes they win, but it doesn't really
No,
matter.
I don't think he'll ever say that to them. The Bounce, who's coming in a little later on for blogs, wants to know what you think about the Boxing Day test debacle.
I don't think it's a debacle. I think it's a debacle only if you're writing headlines. I think it's very difficult to schedule cricket, and I think to try to fit in with the FTP is extremely difficult. It's a popular concept, but in terms of driving huge spectatorship, it's a huge challenge for this country, and something radical needs to happen.
But
to
they were saying it's got
sustain-
nothing to do with spectators. That's so. I mean, the guys would just say what it is. If it is a spectator issue,
Well, I'm just giving a couple of options that we could have. Scheduling is one. The other thing is that if you look at the Boxing Day test in Australia, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But Test cricket is where it's at. I mean, we all love Test cricket. The reality is there needs to be a balance between portraying that young image of cricket and getting the T20 guys in, and obviously preserving Test cricket. I mean, I love the way the English love their cricket. And they celebrate us playing well, even though we were
they have
thumping
to
them.
celebrate us playing well because they can't celebrate anything they do. But I'm devastated because I mean, for a lot of people, that is, and I think also if you follow Twitter, you see people that are at the game and they're talking to each other from the various parts of the ground and stuff. But yeah, granted, I think Durban is, from a crowd point of view, has been poor. But then they must come out and say it because they're not
Bounce
getting
is
great
concerned about his jug cam, isn't that's the issue? Hey, yes, I think that's the issue.
Bounce has a jug cam.
Or
you must see
whatever.
that.
I think that's the issue. I don't really think.
I
it's
want to know more when
spectator.
Bounce comes in
Ask
later
him.
about his jug cam.
What about moving the Boxing Day test to Cape Town?
No, New Year's is a tradition. Stop messing with
No,
tradition.
but what he's saying is perhaps have a Boxing Day and a New Year's Test match. You'll probably fill the ground twice.
Yeah.
Both of them in Cape Town.
Yeah, you'll probably fill the ground twice.
You know where you'd probably get better crowds, because I think Durban's problem is the attraction of weather, beach,
Yeah,
a whole lot of other
absolutely.
things.
He's going to come with his
And there's
theory
not
now.
enough-
What
No,
but
it's
I would
true.
say Supersport Park would be an ideal venue for a Boxing Day test.
But where's everybody?
Well, what do
At
you
the
mean? Where?
coast.
No,
The
not
coast.
necessarily.
No,
There's a lot of people around. Remember, you're catering Joburg and Pretoria and Centurion
From the
and
six-
surrounding areas.
No, from the 16th, it's tough. I mean, they've had a Test match at Centurion from the 15th to the 19th one
Keeps
year.
getting rained out.
Yeah, so
Like
why-
thunderstorms. It's just the wrong week. No, I'm
Move it to Cape
devastated.
Town.
I don't want to see a T20 game while I'm sitting in my jacuzzi. I've got 5 days blocked off in my jacuzzi from 26th until
26th to
30th. I've got 5 days blocked off. When we get some cannon fodder that only lasts 3 days against us, I get peed off.
But we're all going to miss it because it's what we do during that Christmas period.
I don't want to see a T20 game.
But
on
it's
that
very,
day,
very
sorry.
sad, I think, to sit there and watch, an empty stadium.
It is. It's tough for the broadcasters. I mean, you would know that, to be able to show happy crowds. It's just Castle Corner that will be busy.
Do what one of our
everyone's happy.
directors wants to tell everyone to sit on one side of the stand so that he just takes that
That's
shot.
not a bad idea. It's just to get that angle.
Yeah.
That's what they do in some
Yes,
grounds. They
yeah.
actually get people to just sit in one section of the stand. So it
Like
looks
the
like there's a
IPL.
crowd. Like the IPL, they close off certain sections. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, it looks like I'm going to be watching New Zealand in a T20 game on Boxing Day
Charming.
this year.
It would have been worse to have a Test match against New Zealand with no crowds.
Oh, like a Bangladesh series.
Oh,
Kill myself.
Alright, Kaz, nice
Cheers,
to have you here.
guys.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks,
Kass
Kaz.
Naidoo joining us on
We the best on 3. 1, 2, 3. We the best.
2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Mondays to Fridays live on balls.co.za. Balls.co.za.